You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network. Visit pencilandpaperproductions.podbean.com to find more great podcasts.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Happy Monday! Happy E3 week.
It is E3 week. There's a whole lot of nerdy things, I guess, happening.
Christmas.
Because not only is E3 happening, what else is there's a summer? Is that Summerfest?
Yep, I think those kind of start to go on top of each other there a little bit, and then.
And I know this isn't necessarily game related, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. Is Netflix is apparently doing something like they said, hey, it's Geek Week. And it's like, fuck you. But they're apparently releasing first looks and trailers for all the quote geeky stuff. So from what I'm assuming, we'll finally get a look at Witcher Season 2. One thing that I'm really looking forward to, I don't know about you, I don't even know if you saw it, but Masters of the Universe Revelations. This is a show that is being, the showrunner is Kevin Smith, and of all people, and the animation, or at least I have not seen it in motion, but just the screen captures that I've seen. Oh my God.
Yeah?
It looks so freaking amazing.
Masters of the Universe?
Yeah, like He-Man.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how I missed that.
So I'm hoping that we'll get to see a trailer this week. Because I want to see this in action because it looks phenomenal. So I can't wait. And of course, he said if they were, if they had came to him looking for, I think he said an original concept or original take on He-Man. He's like, I've got none of that. He said, but you came to me saying, hey, remember that thing from the 80s? I want you to do all the fan servicey crap. And he's like, done.
Done. I got this.
I can do that.
Trust that in his hands.
So I'm looking forward to that. But no, E3, I guess we'll get some goodies.
Little snippets here. I mean, I did read that for sure. Devolver's got their nice little showcase going on, which I know, whatever, but that's all I kind of care about sometimes. Where I'm like, I want the continuation of this story. Is she okay?
Did you hear, since we're talking about Devolver, I don't know if you saw this now. It's not confirmed. It's a rumor. Perhaps, maybe. Or maybe they're just, it's Devolver. They could be, just
messing with us.
Yep, as they're prone to do. There was a tweet they sent out, I guess, kind of promoting the show. And an eagle-eyed viewer caught something off in the background in the distance because it's the lady and she's sitting at her desk with some coffee or something like that, just looking kind of distant. But if you look off in the background, there's a whiteboard, but it's blurred. But if you can look close enough, and I did, I did the zoom in and looked at it. It looked like the title at the top that's blurred out or out of focus, if you will, was Hotline Miami 3.
Aha. See, I did see the Hotline Miami tweeting about buying Hotline Miami 1 and 2 gives you Miami 3 for free. And I'm like, there's no 3, which they later said, in their own little thread. But I'm like, aha. See, I didn't see that hint. I saw that tweet. I wonder.
I can only hope.
They might be trolling us too, like you said. They're
my only concern with having a 3, like I want it, but at the same time I'm kind of like, do I?
I could go either way. If they make it, I'd probably be interested, but I was a huge fan of 1. I was only kind of lukewarm on 2. Like,
did.
1 was great. It was perfect. I loved the music so much more, the feel. And I'm not saying I hated 2.
No.
But it was definitely, I will play 1 over and over and over again.
Yeah,
Whereas
no.
2, I just played through, I think, once, and I was content.
Yeah, I would kind of go back to 2 here and there because I was obsessed, platinum trophy obsessed with Hotline Miami, and a game like that I'm normally not. But for whatever reason, I was just like, you know what, by God, I'm going to platinum the shit out of this game.
Yeah.
And I went and did every challenge, got the scores, everything. But Hotline Miami 2, I
don't know why it felt different.
Well, I feel like the story was a bit extended, and then there was a lot going on for what that's worth. And then I don't want to say the music was. It just wasn't as good.
It
like
wasn't.
You had some very good choice tracks in certain levels, but overall, I think it wasn't one solid soundtrack. It was like, oh, here's a few good choice tracks, and then a few that you're like, and then that replay value kind of goes away because the music's just not there.
Right.
It's not drawn.
Because, with
back in.
1, it was like, oh, man. You
Yeah.
can't even explain just like how pumped it got you and excited to play. Even if you were dying, you didn't care. Let's start, let's go.
So I guess I kind of do, but I guess I don't want to be disappointed.
Sure.
And I guess that's where the I don't want it comes from. But we'll see.
I'm content with where it's at personally.
We'll see. Yeah.
But you know me, I keep going, but new stuff?
But
Maybe? But new?
I mean, I'll admit I'll buy it day one. That's definitely a
I
must.
probably would too.
Because I'm that kind of fan. So what did I want to talk to you about? I felt like we had some stuff to talk. You know what? No, I want to talk about this. I didn't even write it down, but I just felt like I wanted to bring it up. Yesterday, you may have seen that I tweeted a birthday wish to Darcy, the mail girl. Now, you've heard me talk about the last drive-in here. And
which is making me want to get Cheddar, by the way. I just wish they had like a PlayStation app or something, because that's the only way I know how to watch TV in my house. I don't have those Fire Sticks and fancy stuff.
Now, this is one of those situations where you feel like like if you were to go out, I don't know. I don't want to use Bruce Campbell as an example. Let's try someone else. Hugh Jackman or Ryan Reynolds. There you go, Ryan Reynolds. He's a big star. He's one of them actor types.
He is, yeah. I've
So
heard of him.
if I was to tweet "Happy Birthday" to Ryan Reynolds, $10, I'm not going to get a response.
Yeah, that one could go either way. That one
Okay.
could go either way. Yeah.
I got a response from Darcy.
I saw it.
Yeah.
It was so cute.
But you know why?
She seems very nice.
She is, and I want to admit something here, and I feel compelled in some way to admit something here. Well, it's when I first started watching The Last Drive-In, I had a preconceived notion about who she was.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You look at somebody and you just assume
that terrible trait. Yes.
Yeah. And I don't, and last week or the week before, after a drive-in, she had put out, I think this was Memorial Day weekend, she put out a blog post. I didn't know she had a blog. I didn't know she had a website or whatever, but she put out a blog post, and she seemed like she was troubled or had some turmoil. And I did some digging. And I went and read the post, and it was massive. Not only did I learn that she was feeling troubled for Joe Bob, because people were lambasting him, calling him conservative, racist, and all this stuff, because he wrote for a newspaper that has a conservative lean at one point in his career because he needed a job.
That was probably before it was the poop show that it's turned into now.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, he's been in the business long enough. But, hey, I'm sure the company that I work for, I would almost bet has more of a conservative lean. Mm-hmm. But,
most corporations do that.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that I'm that.
No.
But apparently people have been throwing shade his way because of that. So she was kind of, and it's taking its toll on him, You want to be called a racist? You want to be called hateful? I mean, that's not who you are. And,
right.
of course, Twitter being Twitter.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Then
you did one thing 30 years ago and you're just done for.
Right. But at the same time, she was also talking about her own woes and issues with body image and bullying.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
And things like that. And in that moment, when I heard that, when I was reading through it, I had this deep well of guilt for ever thinking that way about her, or at least having any kind of preconceived notions that I knew who she was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart because it was almost like a lesson learned. Do not judge. Do not judge, because you have no idea what people are going through or who they are. And when she just laid all this out and talked about why she is the way she is, like she has this thing where, like, I made the preconceived notion that maybe she had plastic surgery.
Just because she's well endowed.
But she
lady.
said not a bit. Now,
right.
I don't know about here. I'm talking about here, I guess. I don't know.
In her face?
I don't know.
Oh,
yeah.
Really? That doesn't look like it at all to me, but I don't know.
Well, again, preconceived notions.
Yeah,
I made assumptions, and I feel horrible about it.
Yeah.
But she was talking about how she doesn't smile, or she kind of has this way where she kind of has a small smile or just kind of smirks. Mm-hmm. And she says it's not because of plastic surgery, it's because it's like a nervous tick, because people have told me I'm ugly, or that my teeth are ugly, or that my smile is ugly, or just...
Yeah.
And, the more I read and read and read, I wanted to, like, just hug her.
Yeah.
Because in my entire view of her, just, not that I didn't have any...
You weren't thinking negatively because of it.
No.
Yeah.
And it's not like a light bulb went off. Like, I was sitting there thinking terrible things about her up to that point.
Right.
It was just, I went back to that initial reaction that I had. But then, as I watched the last drive-in over and over, I mean, she was just there. I grew to like her as a person and who she was and got to know her. But it was in that moment, it took me back to that initial reaction and just made me feel like utter shit. And I'm glad that I did.
Yeah.
Because that's what needed to happen. I didn't need to be like, well, not me. I didn't mean anything by it.
Not all people would do that.
No, I did.
Yeah.
And it just, I hate myself for it. But this, I keep hitting my mic. I'm sorry.
I do it all the time.
But this, no, I felt like I wanted to wish her, not that, I didn't expect anything. I honestly didn't expect her to respond.
Sure.
So, it meant a lot that she did. And hopefully, even just the simplest of well wishes for her birthday.
I'm sure it does. Yeah.
I hope it did. Because I wanted her to know that, it's inspiring to go through that all of your life, but still press on.
Yeah.
I have my own issues. I don't think I've ever been bullied to an extreme, but I have. Mm-hmm. Like, it's different for everybody.
Sure.
Obviously. Yeah. So we all have our issues, but no, it's. I love her to death. Good for her. Yeah.
Good for her. Yeah. Good.
Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to share that because a confession. But,
a confession.
Yeah.
I think all of us have been guilty of that at some point in our lives, and probably lying to ourselves if we say, I've never done that. But recognizing it, working on it, moving past it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I definitely don't want to ever do that again. Mm-hmm. Like, even if I've since then, and I know it's only been maybe a week, but if I feel it creeping on for whatever
This whole
reason.
week.
But if I feel it creeping up in my head for whatever reason, I'm just like, no, shut up. You go away now. In
Yep.
fact, exit my head. Find a way out. Because I don't want to be that person.
Good.
It's just makes
I
me
believe
feel,
in you, man.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. Hey, what have you been playing?
Actually, I had a pretty decent week.
Okay.
First off, we got to say I've been playing Above the Fold. Why?
Why?
You're going to want to stick around to the end of this show because we got to talk to a very lovely, talented indie developer, freaking musician, freaking D&D player. You name it. The talent's there. So I was, of course, touching up on that this week because I had to know if anything new has changed since I touched it last. And a lot has. And you'll find out about that later on. So stick around.
Yeah.
And Rasmus Rasmussen. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but he said it was fine. So we'll go with it.
It was fine.
I asked him, am I saying that right? He goes, that's fine. So that tells me I'm not correct, but he's cool with it. So chill dude. There you go.
It works.
But I played some more Hard West. I got through a couple more scenarios in that. I think I have 3 left before I've beaten, I guess. Well, that game, I don't know. You could do easy. You can move on to a hard mode. You can add other stuff to make more complicated. I'm cool with the normal mode. Probably once I'm done, unless something new opens up, which I don't know. After I beat it, there might be a whole other stage or something. But did pretty good. Actually, I didn't have to die a lot this time, so I think I'm getting the strategy on some.
Good.
And then I attempted to play some Crypt of the Necrodancer. I have to admit, this is what I did not see coming.
I'm
My
gonna
hubs
have
got
to try it.
super addicted to it. We played it, I think, together once. And neither of us were really any good at it. I still haven't been able to clear a level, but it's just fun now that I wake up in the morning and I hear da 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 ba da 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 da. I'm like, oh, he's got it going. So I just sit here in the back room and just kind of pop along to the music.
So since you've said that,
Yeah.
I know I've seen it. But what is it?
So it's a dungeon crawler, basically. But you get bonus points for moving in beat to the music. So it's just on a little grid. You just kind of go side to side, up or down, little pixel graphics. And then there's a heart at the bottom and lines that'll come through. So if you just happen to hop, 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 you're moving in time to it, you get coin multipliers. And obviously you want to clear out the mobs that are in the dungeon, and then you can clear through that level. What happens after that, I have no idea, because I haven't been able to be good enough to finish a level.
Okay.
I guess. But yeah, so it's got really cool music, and that's kind of its challenging niche, is just you want to do better, you want to get higher scores and do all this stuff, and then the colors will start to change on the floor if you're doing really well. Little disco time, and you could dig through the walls and stuff like that, So I recommend it. It's fun. It's a cute little game. I found it on the Switch for a couple of bucks, but I think it's on all platforms, honestly. I think it's on PC. I think it's on PlayStation. I think it's on all of those. But yeah. So dungeon crawler to the beat.
Okay.
And I also played another full playthrough of Not For Broadcast yesterday, because I saw that they also had an update. And do you remember the one feature that I said I just don't like, no matter what they do to it, with the interference?
Yes.
They now allow you to turn it off, whichever
nice.
feature you don't like. So while I appreciate that they wanted to create that stressful environment and put that there, that was just the one mechanic. It was not fun. I hated it when it came up. So I have played through the game several times with everything intact. So I feel like I've gotten the full experience. And so then I played through yesterday with that one off, and it was just so much more fun for me. And I noticed there was some achievements I didn't get. And I was like, really? I thought I went way heavy one way or the other way. I guess not, because I popped a couple more yesterday. So I must have somewhere got wishy-washy with which side at some point throughout the gameplay that kept knocking me to neutral or something. But I went all in on advanced this time, baby. I'm all in for our government doing all of it. So that was what I did yesterday too, and actually got to see a new scene. I'm telling you, man. Still. So many times, I think I put in over 40 hours in this game.
Nice.
I keep playing it. I love this. Is probably one of my favorite FMVs. It's just such a unique little way to do the thing, and I enjoy the whole editing process thing and the stress of that and the music in it that they write for it.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious. It's ridiculous.
I
need to show you this one song in it towards the end.
Okay.
It's just so funny that it was even a thing, and I want to know who wrote it and directed that song, because it's like they do have musical ones and you get more score again if you can do it to the beat. A couple of songs I could do really well, and a couple of them I've just given up. I don't understand. Like, I've hit with the blinky thing, I've hit with what I think is in the music or what I think is my hints, and I just keep getting knocked down to one, so I just screw it. I edit it as I feel like someone's singing, and then I move on. I just can't figure out how to A+ that scenario. I don't know what to do. See, I think it's Hey Friendship, and the one about the bear, where they're singing about a bear. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? Yeah, I kind of almost stuck. Da 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 da, wah ba ba, ra da 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 da, and so that's where your dreams go to die, or something like that. So you would think it's like dun da da, and then da da da. Nope. And then I tried faster. Nope. So I don't get that song. Whatever. Sorry,
Okay.
if someone's listening and has played that game and you figured it out, I don't understand. But all the other ones I do well at.
Yeah, just let her know. At her.
Tell me how easy it is, so I can just feel even more stupid. You know how people love to say, it's just so easy. It's just so simple. You just do this. And it's like, okay, thanks for making me feel even worse. Anyway.
You don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? How come you've never heard of it? So I actually had a pretty decent gaming week.
Sounds like
How
it.
about you? What'd you play this week?
Valhalla.
Oh, yeah?
I actually did. I powered through a little bit more. I got to a point where I was like, you know what? It's time to progress the story. I had to get into a mind space where it was, I've cleared out a lot. I've done a lot of exploring. Now, why don't we go and progress the story? Because there were areas that I kept coming up to where things were, like there would be some big piece of armor or treasure locked behind a door, and I'm like, how do I get this? How do I get this? And then I would look it up. I said, am I missing something? And they're like, no, you're not far enough in the story. And I was like, damn it. So I just got to a point where I was like, all right, you know what? Let's do story. So I pretty much conquered.
Oh, like you were getting side quest blocked because you were doing enough of the story.
Because, yeah, the place I would be at, there would be like this big building or something like that. And in the story, we would break down the door or something like that. But since I wasn't in the story, I couldn't get in. So
Yeah.
I was just like, all right,
It's like,
fine.
we don't know you yet. Not your turn.
Exactly. So I finally said, screw it. Let's press on the story. And in the story, you are trying to ally with other kingdoms. And I think I did, I want to say I did 3, but I think maybe I did 2 and then started a 3rd and just haven't finished that yet. So whatever that is in the story, I'm assuming we'll ally with everybody at some point, and then that'll be... But, that was
At least
fun.
it sounds like you've gotten pretty far, because isn't that the one that had like some bugs for the story and stuff?
I think so, yeah.
Kind of locked out. Yeah. So that's good. Unless you just, for some reason, haven't gotten that far yet.
But, everything seems to be
The way
going
you
fine.
explore, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, everything's fine. I'm going to tell you this one too, because in my explorations, in my travels, I got so mad. I don't like this game when it does these things to me.
What did it
Lace,
do?
because there was a treasure in this house, and then I had to go find a key, and then I found a key and I opened it up and I ran in, and there sat a snake.
Oh, no, not again.
And then I turned to my left and there's another. And then off in the distance, there's another. It's a house full of snakes. I jumped on the wall. And I said, snakes!
Why?
I don't know.
Booby trapped the treasure.
Yes, they did. It was a big setup. And I was like, there's snakes in here.
Did you get the treasure, though?
I did. I
Okay,
had to, like, shimmy myself over to a
I
spot.
just see your character jumping, stuck to the wall, like, nope.
Yeah. I stayed there for a minute, kind of observing. I was like, where do I go? can't hit the floor.
This is where I live now.
And so luckily I was able to kind of shimmy over to like a shelf and stand on that, and then I just shot each of the snakes with an arrow, and I was like, okay. And then I got the hell out of there as quick as I could.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
No. I didn't like that at all.
No.
I don't like when they keep
Those damn snakes keep screwing you, man.
You know what? Like, I'll handle anything else. I could be chased by wolves for days. But damn a snake. Mm-hmm. And I think I've actually ran across some in the wild. Like, I'm just walking by and there's this kind of a warning, like if you're in a battle or something like that.
Yeah.
Or an animal's nearby or something like that. And I've been riding on my horse. And then it'll just kind of appear and disappear. And I'm like, what was that? And all I can sit there and think is there was a fucking snake by the road or something like that. And I was like, nah.
Like it started to do the combat music.
Yeah.
And you were too fast. Yeah, all right.
And I was just like, no, I'd go back, but you're just lucky I'm not.
Right.
I'm going to keep going.
Self-lucky. I have places to be, man.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll get a little bit farther eventually. I've played that game for 60 hours. And I don't feel like I've gotten that far. I've done so much exploring.
Well, good for that. Good for you if you like that. I feel like that would start to scare me where I'm like, am I ever going to get done? But it must be really good, though, if it's keeping your attention.
Yeah, that's why I started pushing through with the story. It was just like, I will go to these places eventually. So I'm going to be exploring the story in these areas eventually. Let's just go to the story. And I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Because I'm already, like, my levels are at 200 at this point, if that's how that works. I still can't beat this one witch. Like, there were these witch sisters, which, hey, look at that. That's a thing that I did. To unlock a special armor, I'm guessing. Like, I found the crypt in which it goes to, and you collect daggers. And, I guess the daggers are like keys. And when I first came across them, they had different levels. One was like level 90, the other is about 160, and then the last one is about 340. Well, once I got to where I could handle the other two, they were still tough, but I was able to I could withstand whatever they got. The 340 woman or witch, she's that one's gonna be a rough one. So I've still got a little ways to go before I get to taking that one down. But we'll get there.
You're going to get there. I have the faith.
So you got some news for us?
There's a little bit. I mean, granted, not as booming this week. I think we're all gearing up for the news that's to come throughout this week, but found a couple little tidbits here to chat about.
Okay.
We or maybe just me, when I find new lawsuits in the news, I always find them a little fascinating and love to chat about them because Capcom found themselves in one this week over a claim that they used another artist's copywritten photos as assets in Resident Evil games and Devil May Cry. Designer and the author of this book, Judy A. Jurassic, is seeking damages from Capcom dating back 20 years. We're talking, I think, all the way from like Resident Evil 4. So she published a book titled Surface, which has it's over 1,000 high quality color photographs that she took. So she compiled them into this book, which also included a CD of digital copies of the images. So the reason for the book, according to her, was just to support for designers, artists, and architects, right? But she's saying now that Capcom stole this work to use in their games going back, as far as I mentioned, 20 years ago. And I have to say, I don't know if you looked up the evidence, it's quite compelling.
Really?
From what I was able to show, or for what they were showing, at least in the couple of articles that I was able to find that did the comparisons, She had some receipts. We'll just say she had some receipts to back up her claim. She provided over 100 pages of pictures and side-by-side comparisons, starting with Resident Evil 4, with the 4 in the logo, for example. So she had detailed, she had a picture of, looked like a broken window that she had taken off the side of the building. And when you put up the Resident Evil 4 logo, the cracks line up perfectly. Which could be a coincidence, but I'm just going to say, like, they line up. Those cracks line up really well. And even going to show example of a stained glass window that was photographed and compared it with the Resident Evil HD. Exact same one. Exact same one. And also detailed some marble use that was used in Resident Evil 4. And even some photos in Devil May Cry. And she had even more. I'm just saying, when you're looking at these side by side, it's kind of hard to not think this is exactly what happened. So if we can even remember, there was a data breach that Capcom had in 2020.
Yeah.
Where the studio's assets were leaked, which gave her even more ammo. Unfortunately for Capcom, because as some of the files found in the leak matched word for word the file name of the photographs in her book. So moving forward here, she is currently going for 1 count of copyright infringement and 1 count of copyright management against Capcom. She wants $150,000 for each of the 80 different photographs, which adds up to $12 million. And we're not done, because she's also asking for $2,500 for each of the other photographs for her second count, which adds up to about $2 million. And she wants her attorney's fees paid, because Capcom, we shouldn't have had to been doing this at all. But I don't know if you'll get that. America's kind of hard to sell on that one, which is why we sue so often around here. But she wants the cost of her attorney's fees and an injunction against Capcom's ongoing development effort to protect its exclusive rights. So there might be some we're seeing in games yet to come. So time will tell. But she is asking for a trial by jury. And right now, at the time of this recording, we're still waiting for the court's response to move forward on how it's going to be taken care of.
Do you think Capcom will just throw some money at her?
Oh, I think they'll try to settle. Because I feel like, okay, and again, I can only go off of the evidence that I have seen put forth so far, but it's pretty damning. And I feel like with a company that large, I feel like we've seen this time and time again. But since they're so large enough that they feel like they can just do it, pay it off, and move forward.
So would there be one person responsible for ripping her off, you think?
Oh, man. And especially if you're dating back all the way 20 years ago. But I mean, if you continue to do this over the course of this time, I feel like I even read where the Resident Evil 2 remake, and probably because we were remaking assets that they used in the first Resident Evil 2, you know, and then it come over here. Oh, man, that's a good question, because I wonder who could essentially be the one that gets held accountable over the whole thing. I feel like it would have to be like a game director or the designer, whoever does that sort of stuff, because I really wouldn't think it would fall on the devs. If
it was like an entire team of people ripping this person off, that's just insane to think about.
Right?
Like that they were all complicit in just saying, just take from her designs and it'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Right.
So if it is an entire team, I would be shocked.
I don't know how things work, but it just seems like they'd probably be provided assets maybe, and then devs will just get to work or whatever. Like, I don't know. I shouldn't say, because I don't know if I'm defending the wrong party or this, that, or the other, because again, they're going to have to put up their side. It's always so sad. I feel like this happens so much in the artist realm, that their work is not valued and their time is not valued, and everyone thinks they're supposed to be exposure bucks. You're going to get so much exposure, you know, like, God damn it, treat your artists better than this. I really hate when people get taken advantage of that way, because it's some sort of art that you deem valueless, that you think you could just do. I could take a picture. Then go do it and stop stealing someone else's.
Have at it.
You know, like, no one's stopping you from drawing your own design or doing any of that. but pay your damn artists. Anywho, we'll have to wait and see how that one turns out. We're still waiting to hear if they'll get a court date or, however it's going to proceed moving forward.
2 weeks, we'll hear settlement offer.
Probably. Or they're going to take it out of court. Or, right? Oh, well, you know what? That'd be fair. Did you say 20 million?
I did.
It's 2 more than she's asking for, or 6 more than she's asking for, so do it. Give her 20.
And just be like, look, that way you can just go away. But we'll continue to rip off your work.
Or, come into an agreement now. Like, we're already building these. How can we do this legally now? And then she can go after that. And you're going to have to pay her residuals, which also sounds fair.
Yeah.
Call me crazy. Continuing to use someone's work. The arts is a fun world.
Anyway.
AMD kind of came out with a nice little back and forth to NVIDIA's DLSS technology. They came out with their response to that on their side here, which, if you do not know, the DLSS is a specific upscaling technology that's supposed to make everything, look nicer, prettier, 4K without being as hardware intensive, right? So they detailed it last week and even said that their new one should work on competitor cards. So it's called, and I don't know how that would even work, but AMD's Fidelity FX Super Resolution Tech, which is due to land on June 22nd. It's their counter offer, of course, to the deep learning super sampling tech. So AMD promises same performance gains as DLSS while supporting their technology on all of their Radeon graphics cards and even apparently competing GeForce products.
Well,
looking at this with how upscaled it got and the frames that it kept. Now, again, I have not got to see this in practice, and none of us normies has, because it's supposed to be on June 22nd when it comes out. So none of us, I don't get special treatment to get to try it early. But with their side-by-side comparisons and everything, we're pretty friggin' sweet. But what should we all be excited for? You know what chipsets are in them PlayStations and Xboxes right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this feature will also be coming over to them consoles, I believe, anyway, which shouldn't be a surprise. So as the GPU, it's actually an open source technology right now. So it will be published as open source, so free for developers to use and all of that. Has confirmed that the FSR will be implemented in over 10 game studios and in engines in 2021, with more coming in 2022. So I don't know. I've been looking more at AMD lately.
Yeah.
I really have. I feel like they've really upped their game here. Not like I can find any of their stuff either. Yeah. But I like how they're upping the competition in the space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having more than just the one that you could go to for reliable graphics and everything. It's really cool. I'm not saying their stuff was ever poop, but I feel like I knew more people that went towards NVIDIA way more than AMD products. Could just be the circles I run into. And NVIDIA, of course, also announced the launch of the RTX 3080 Ti went on sale, and it's already gone, so don't even look. I think it was on sale for maybe 20 minutes. So semiconductor shortages, of course, are still ongoing. Scalpers, cryptocurrency, people being poor. We're all missing out on GPUs. So
maybe the GPUs will start coming back, because as we saw recently, the Bitcoin bubble burst.
I feel like this keeps going. I just want them to be attracted to the other GPU if NVIDIA will ever just push it out, where it's here, a crypto card. Although I think, was it Troidel made a really good point about its resale value. I think it was, maybe not. Maybe I was having this conversation with another person. I'm terrible with remembering anything. But that was a good point about reselling it. You probably would have a better chance if it was a gamer card. But if you're also paying $200 or $300 for the card just to simply have your PC running, would you really care about reselling it 2 or 3 years later? I don't know. That's just me, but I don't know the mind of a cryptocurrency miner. Never gotten into it. I thought you might like this one. Insomniac might have had a huge win here. Insomniac Games. Did you see about this week?
Maybe not. What happened?
We're fans of it here. So I thought Steven would really like this, being a big Spider-Man game fan and all of that. But it seems they're upping their game here to stay out of the curve. Maintain that high standard, of course, that they've been pushing out over the last several years. So this month, Dave Chilstick. Clystek. I'm going to go with Clystek. Chlystek. Joins Insomniac Games as senior storyboard artist. And in case you don't know who that was, I wasn't familiar by just name alone either. He brings over 20 years of experience because he's worked 14 years at Disney and put in time as storyboard artist for Marvel Studios for 7 years. So already has that experience in this field. Also worked for DreamWorks Animation, Cartoon Network, Sony, and Warner Brothers. And if we're to believe the rumors, this could be the first Spider-Man superhero title to launch only and specifically for PS5, built around its hardware. Is the rumor mill I've been seeing too.
Well, I would hope so.
Right. Well, I mean, we're in that cross-generation age right now.
Yeah, but at some point we have to get to that. Like I think,
feel like it takes a couple years, though.
I think we were under an impression. The more I've thought about this, I don't think I was really under the impression that Horizon was being built for PlayStation 5, the new one.
Yeah.
But then we had confirmation it would be on 4 and 5 with enhancements to the games.
The 5 version, right.
But I mean, when you look at it, you're like, did they I mean, because it looks fantastic, so you'd think it was taking advantage of everything the 5 could do, but I mean, it was built for the 4. That's what they said.
I mean, you kind of, I guess, have to build on the lesser hardware, right? Like, you kind of have to ensure it's going to run on that, and of course, hopefully run better on that, because I can't see, unless you have the time, money, and resources to make 2 completely different games, one built for the 4 and one built only for the 5. I feel like this happens every time we have a new console, though.
I mean, it's true.
Like, we kick and scream for a while, but it usually takes about 1 to 2 years to get that last one out of circulation until the title starts specifically getting built for that. I mean, Returnal is one, right? It was only built for PS5 from the ground up, right? And only on that one. So there's there's a couple. But yeah, I would expect those major titles, they're going to want the money. And with it being so hard to put PS5s in gamers' hands, probably best to keep selling that PS4 for a while. I don't know how many just keep sitting in warehouses, you know.
They'd stop trying to sell them online and just give them to the brick and mortar, because I honestly feel like that's where you're going to have to give people a chance.
I feel like that too, but then I'm also scared with how ridiculous people are acting over Pokemon cards.
Yeah, true.
It's like, could you imagine them in there now with like 2 PS5s among the hordes of masses? I mean,
but
I know
they can. I mean, 1, they put them behind glass, or 2, they don't even have to bring them out to.
It's true.
The
just feel like they used to do back in the day at like a video rental. You just brought up the little empty case, and they'd have to fill it for you when they got
Yeah, why not?
I
like that.
Know. I like that. I just feel like there's got to be something. I did hear that the last thing I heard that Sony, I guess, attempt at trying to get them in the hands of gamers as opposed to scalpers was if you were part of their PS Plus. Like, some people have been getting email invites.
Good.
Where it's like, hey, would you like to buy a PS5 with this link? And then you could get it that way. But of course, that just seems like a random lottery.
Yeah.
But I have read some people successfully getting some that way. So it just seems random. So just, I guess, keep an eye on your email if you're part of that, in the hopes that maybe one will land in your inbox. But that's not a guarantee, of course. I don't know. It looks like that was about the biggest news here. I mean, E3 finally put out a little bit more of a schedule. So if you were looking to know what was happening on what days, I mean, I took note of the ones I care about. Which is probably not as inclusive, but let's see. I feel like if you're listening here, you're probably into what Steven and I like anyway. So, the ones that Guerrilla Collective, looks like it's kicking it off June 12th, right at 8 a.m. Remember, everything's Pacific time for this guy, so adjust accordingly to wherever you live in the great big world. But Gearbox might actually have something interesting kicking off, and I've been hearing more and more about some of their like new games that they've been trying to, I guess it's been getting leaked. Let's just say I feel like everything around this time of year is leaks because nobody can just wait till E3 and be surprised. So there could be some interesting ones coming out of there. Let's see, Devolver. Of course, you know, I'm looking forward to that. And we've got the confirmation today, you know, that it's going to be there. I want to know what happened to her, man. I'm invested in the story, almost more so than the games, but they always have really cool games to show off. I don't know. I mean, we know Microsoft Bethesda Showcase, which I assume is just a lot of Starfield. Maybe.
That and them saying, we're only on Microsoft.
I
Look
mean,
at our
I
big
think
penis.
Starfield has been confirmed as Xbox PC, like it's claimed. I mean, are you surprised?
I'm not surprised.
Whether you think it's, I know, like people who are used to having exclusives are now mad because they've never felt the injustice. But let's see. June 14th is Capcom. You know, I guess if they're still around. All right. But I guess they're doing it like Take-Two is also on that day, June 14th, which there were some interesting things kind of coming out from that. And then Nintendo, of course, has their June 15th, which may or may not have the console that everyone keeps trolling people about the next version. I think it's just going to be Switch games.
Yeah. It's
Like,
either...
And I wouldn't be disappointed in that.
I mean, I continue to hear the rumor Switch Pro. Mm-hmm. I feel that there has to be some truth to the rumor, but Nintendo's real fickle when it comes to leaks. If something comes out, they're just like, you think this is going to come out? No, screw you. I'm going to put this back over here until you've forgotten about it, and then I'll whip it out.
Bad kids.
Yeah.
Don't you try to get in on Christmas early.
I honestly genuinely feel that for like Super Smash Brothers, every time there was a leaked fighter where they're like, we're getting this, they're like, cut it. Put this piece of shit in from Fire Breath or Breath of, what was it? Breath of Fire? Breath of Fire. That Japanese only turn-based RPG. They're just like, throw another Breath
do you mean Persona?
Or Persona. Because people would complain. I think it was Breath of Fire was the name of the game.
Okay.
And it was like they'd always continue to whip out these Breath of Fire. I don't know why it's so hard for me to say Breath of Fire. I keep wanting to say Breath of the Wild. Breath of Fire.
That's where I was going. Fire.
But they just kept, here's Roy, here's Edgar, and people are like, who the fuck are these characters? But
Fighter number 3.
I genuinely think Nintendo had these characters backed up so that the moment the big character got leaked, they're just like, pull it, put that one in, put this garbage character in there that no one cares about,
no one heard of,
and then people are going to be just like, oh, but I thought it was supposed to be like Solid Snake and whoever. And it was like, no, you ruined it. You wanted it, you leaked it. This is what you get now.
Good for them.
Why not?
I wish we would stop sometimes. I really do. Like, this leaks and everything. I'm like, don't you guys remember what it was like to just be like, because you had no clue this thing was coming and your mind was blown?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of miss those days. It's like hard to even avoid it if you want to. Just flipping through a Twitter or something, someone will ruin something for you inadvertently. So
I remember doing that at a video store one time. Like discovering, several times, as a matter of fact, discovering movies I didn't know existed, especially if it was a sequel to something I was a fan of.
Right.
And I would see it and I'd be like, there's another one. Because we didn't have online trailers and shit like that. So if you never saw the trailer in the theater or you didn't see it on some other VHS tape.
Or if it was straight to VHS. Yeah. I mean, some sequels tended to do back then.
It was
straight to video. Hard
to do, but then boom, there it is.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but while we're talking about VHS, that was what they did to us on the drive-in this week or last week, Friday.
What, showed you a VHS copy?
Well, they called it VHS night, okay?
Okay.
They showed 2 movies that somehow I missed growing up. These were horror movies filmed on like camcorders. Like if I ever doubted the quality of my work, some of my older stuff on YouTube, I could go back to that and be like, mine is kind of significantly better, because even the titles kind of had that. You remember where you could type in the titles on the camcorder? That's what it looked like.
Because that was probably the best like graphics you could do, unless you knew how to like splice over the film.
But, oh my God, these movies, I got through them both. But they were hard. They were hard
to go
watches.
through.
Oh my God. The last one especially was just like.
And it's probably was a great story. No. But it's downfall. No.
No.
I was trying to help it some. Like this movie, I don't even know what the title is.
No,
I'm
the
trying
first
to
one
help
was
defend
called
it.
Sledgehammer, and it had its roots in like you could see they were trying to pull from Friday the 13th and Halloween and all these others, but they just didn't have a budget or actors for that matter. they just had these
Probably like friends and family.
oh my God, this one douchebag who's supposed to be like the hero, I guess, of the movie, kept talking. I guess him and his girlfriend were supposed to be in, having the outs, and he's just like, "Come on, baby, we're here to have fun." She's like, "Yeah, but I'm just." He's like, "Come on, baby, come on." That typical.
Yeah, where they're like, you have to keep trying. Have to keep
Yeah.
trying. Like the bad example of how to be a man growing up. Yes.
3 times in this movie, he popped her on the head with something. Like first time was a beer can, just tap, 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 and it's like, dude, what? She's not. What? Stop.
Why are we tapping her on the head with anything?
I don't know, but he did.
Oh, okay.
It was a bizarre movie. And then the other one was called Things, and the entire movie, I swear to God, the entire movie was, they said, if I'm not mistaken, was shot in Canada,
Okay.
but everything was redubbed. Like they re-recorded every line of dialogue in the movie.
Was it in French?
No. No, you could see they were speaking English, but they redubbed everything. He said because
The
there was...
Canadian accent too thick.
He said, according to the director, there was a lot of ambient noise that he couldn't get rid of, or something like that.
Oh, like room sound.
Whatever.
Okay.
It made it so much more.
Maybe it was a creative choice that he doesn't want to own up to now.
Who knows?
Hey,
I don't know.
I don't know. I tend to think they're hilarious people, the Canadians. So maybe it was just a joke that it's now lost on us.
Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent. But I just wanted, while we were talking about VHS movies, that made me remember that. Anyway, continue.
Should try to go back and watch those, you youngins. You youngins. Let's see here. So there's just a few quick hits here, of course, to go through. Dear God, that frickin' chicken nugget. That freaking chicken nugget that looks like Among Us, whatever, like $100,000 basically, man.
That's insane.
Who has money? $100,000 spent on a chicken nugget, provided it comes with Szechuan sauce, I'm told.
Yeah. Eat me.
It started at 99 cents. It was all. The next bid was 15K, let's just say. It was like 14,969 or something like that. Like, who the hell jumped at that freaking much? I bet you it was a bot. And then I wonder if other people started thinking, because I've heard about bots that were doing that to a lot of scalpers who were like making the price of their consoles $20, $30, $40, $50,000 in the hopes that no one could bid on it. So when the bot won, that you just...
But why do well, okay.
To screw over a scalper, fine.
Yeah, fair
Wrong,
enough.
maybe. But I hate them enough that I'm like, oh, well.
Yeah.
That's probably not right. But yeah, so there you go, guys. I guess sell chicken nuggets out of BTS Happy Meals on eBay, and you'll make several years worth of, I don't know what you make a year. That'd be several years for me. Quite a few years for me. I could be comfortable for a while. But we did get a little bit more info, I guess, on the Atari VCS.
Yeah,
So
that
it'll
thing.
Actually, I know, right? Like, it's been back and forth for so long. I keep forgetting about it. But apparently, like, for real sale, June 15th, the Atari box, which, 2017, probably, when we first started talking about it. That was supposed to be based on PC technology or whatever. Because it was off of an Indiegogo campaign. I guess all those are fulfilled now.
I would hope.
People who did that, they've got that.
And yet you've heard no one talk about it.
I feel like I guess I don't know anybody who got this, like even on the Twitterverse or whatever socials. Like, yeah. So I guess if you the chief operating officer, Michael Art, said that the Atari VCS has been well received by our early adopter community. I mean, I can't say yes or no to that, and I think it's going to hit better with older folks maybe. And I kind of agree. Because it's like a dozen games or so to launch, and I feel like nostalgia is going to have to carry you through to spend $300 on this for right now. Because the ones that I read on there, Boulder Dash Deluxe, Danger Scavenger, Gun Tech, Jetboard Joust, Sir Lovelot, Something Ate My Alien, Tail Gunner, and Missile Command Recharged. And if I'm honest with you, I don't know if I've played any of those. None of them ring any bells for me, and I'm that age group.
Missile Command, I know of. I don't know if I ever played the Atari version, but
I guess I didn't play enough Atari. Like, it was my mom's. I ended up playing it because we had it. And then, of course, I had Nintendo. Mm-hmm. But $300 though for that. Like, I think it's going to start with like Linux technology too on there. So it's like, which that's neither good nor bad. It just depends on the individual user, which can be actually a lot better if you want to save your resources to run only the games and not all this other crap like comes with Windows and stuff that it has to always run in the background. But I'm also hearing, well, we talked about this a little bit, the rumors about CD Projekt Red planning another AAA game like now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, finish the last one maybe first, but okay, thanks, maybe? I don't know. It was through a job listing, of course, again, and looking for a team for the next open world AAA game. Witcher 4?
Okay.
Maybe get some goodwill back into the people?
Okay, but to be fair, now,
Okay.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
He's never going to watch the show, so he won't meme that with me. For those who might have known what I just did, continue.
That's okay. It's okay. To play devil's advocate here, not that I'm defending on what they're doing, but look how long it took them to make Cyberpunk. Okay, so maybe they're planning ahead, knowing it's going to take about 10 years,
20 years.
to make this next game. So they're hiring early. Go ahead and get it in now.
But well, since we're hiring you so early, can you help us finish this game? Cool.
Yeah, cool.
I'm not being fair. I haven't gone back to it since I've beaten it, so I'm probably behind on several updates, so I don't know if it's really greatly improved or not. Again, I played it on PC, so I feel like I have to keep saying that because I didn't have the same experience everyone else did. Did I have bugs? Yes, but I was able to play, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So we were talking about some of those 2K games that might get announced here, which I've seen, of course, getting leaked on Reddit here. Apparently, it includes in their E3 lineup, we might be seeing a new Borderlands spinoff called Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Which, if you were a Borderlands fan, I think we're a Borderlands age right now. You got the movie going on. You got all this going on. You got the multiplayer for Borderlands 3 going crossplay, except for Sony. And what it also, a new Marvel game. It's like a turn-based strategy Marvel game. Like XCOM, I think is how they described it, meets Marvel, which I liked the XCOM games. I'd be interested, I guess, to see how they're, for all I know, they're just going to port in Marvel characters and it'll be the same game. I don't know. I don't know. But interesting. We'd like to see with that. And another one that's codenamed Volt right now. Now, I don't know if you read anything about this codename Volt.
No.
But it was from leaked information on Reddit from Swine Flu Greg.
Oh, Swine Flu Greg.
Yeah, our very reliable leaker over there on the Redditverse. But codename Volt is the internal name, of course, right now for the new project over at 2K. A trailer for codename Volt, I guess, showed what appeared to be a game that was still very unfinished. So we're talking like, we're still concepting this whole thing right here. Yeah, it'll be way long, but the description caught my eye if it gets executed well. Cthulhu meets Saints Row.
Okay, maybe.
So I feel like Cthulhu's been done freaking death, but I love Saints Row, and let's see what they come up with here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're still very, very many years out. From hearing, we're still in code names, so we don't even have like an official title for it, but maybe we'll hear something about that at E3 also. I think it would be interesting to see something a little bit new.
Okay.
So yeah, I think the most other thing that we saw was some sci-fi action in there too, which makes sense. Cthulhu, science fiction, obviously, supernatural capabilities for the players and things like that. But yeah, so something to keep your eye on there if you're into that sort of thing. And let's see what else. What else do I feel like talking about? God of War was rumored to be out this year officially. Don't expect it till at least 2022.
Yeah, I
Figured
think
we need to say that.
we all
kind of expected it,
Yeah.
but it's official. It's
Hey,
official now.
I got one.
Yeah.
While I'm thinking about it, because I just remembered. I remembered.
Yeah, good for you, because I'm not that good.
Evergate got delayed on the PlayStation 5.
Oh no!
But
Why?
guess what?
'Cause- Oh.
Because of Sony.
Oh, okay. That
Sony
makes sense.
botched their certification or something like that. So it was supposed to be out, I think, this past week, but it has been
Okay.
rescheduled July 6th. So if that's
Oh,
something
that's
you're
not
looking,
so bad.
you're looking
Like-
forward to it,
Yeah.
I know Todd was looking forward to it, and he was a little disappointed. I'll probably get it. That way I can play it more.
Sure,
because,
sure.
you
Yeah,
know,
you and PC.
I have played it on my PC. I will say that I have played it on my PC quite a bit, but I don't. My home.
Personal
base
preference,
thing.
big TV, sit on my couch, make it comfy. I still tell you though, you can just freaking HDMI cord, man, to your PC into the TV. Boom.
I know.
Probably got the same thing.
I've
but
thought
I
about-
get it. Whatever.
I've considered all the possibilities. It's just the setup of doing it, and then I'm just like, but I gotta do this and I gotta do that.
These first world problems we
Yeah.
go through, I tell you.
God,
I feel you though.
Anyway, but yeah, it's I'm looking forward to that.
I do. We're too much alike. Let's see here. Square Enix's E3 2021 might be showing us off the new Guardians of the Galaxy adventure game.
Well, after Marvel's Avengers, I'm holding my breath.
You and I were thinking. I was thinking that too. I was like, maybe finish the other one. Like, I feel like I'm saying that to devs too much these days. Like, before you move on to that game, maybe fix this one.
I mean, I know
don't
that they is Square Enix doing it directly, because didn't
It's
Crystal
their
Dynamics
Montreal's division,
Okay.
Eidos or something like that. If I'm saying it right.
So Crystal
So it is-
Dynamics did the Avengers. So this
Oh, you might
being
be right. Yeah.
Eidos doing that. So it could be something different. But just in my heart of hearts, after seeing that debacle, something tells me they were already kind of on track to do that. And now they're just like, what are we going to do? Just keep going.
Well, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. But I don't know. Let's see. I mean, I enjoyed the Telltale version of it. I know that's a totally different thing.
No,
but,
yeah.
They could guess I go in there and do that.
I want to like these things. I do, because these are my favorite things, and when my favorite things are not being done justice, it disappoints me.
Well, yeah. It's like we're trusting you with this. Not like we had a choice. I mean, you bought it. And
That's why
ran with it.
Insomniac is like the top of my list, because they took my absolute favorite thing and did it right twice. So
Insomnia, and maybe it'll be even better. We got someone who did the storyboarding for Marvel.
I cannot.
I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I can't even fathom Spider-Man 2 at this point. Like, seeing how good Miles Morales looked, and then what they did to kind of polish over the original on PlayStation 5. Being built from the ground up, I can't wrap my head around it. Like,
I kind of hope for y'all's sake it is built around the PS5. Like,
Yeah.
take advantage of that SSD and all the things that it can do.
but how much better can you make it? Like, how
I
much
don't
better
know.
can you make it look?
I feel like we've been saying this for years. And how can you make graphics look any better outside of just putting freaking humans in there now and making it look like real people, just building people now? I don't know. But they figure out a way.
That's why I'm waiting to see proof. Like, when everything that we've been saying, how can you do it? And then you show me like this. Okay. My head's
Yeah.
blown off.
But I need the full setup. I need the actual PlayStation 5. I need a good TV that'll actually show off its graphics. So I'm very, I would be at a detriment starting anyway. Because I'm like, HD. I've still got that.
Yeah. You got to get to the 4K. Everybody's in 4K now. Come on, keep up.
Dude, I just got HD on my monitor like 2 or 3 years ago. So I was way behind the time. It was still a flat screen.
Eh,
So I wasn't like stupid old, but,
yeah.
we had moved on to like other stuff before then. But yeah, so Did I forget anything you wanted to mention? Because I think we've got a really cool individual to talk to here.
Yes, we have a guest.
We do. I mentioned a little bit up at the top.
So I guess we should introduce them into the show now because he's been waiting all this time.
He has been. He's been very
just
patient and kind.
Quietly waiting as we've done the show.
No. I've seen him laugh a lot. So we're very much entertaining him.
Without further ado, returning to the Palace of Megapixels this week is a writer, producer, and independent game designer who created a one-of-a-kind newspaper simulator, Above the Fold. He's worked for such companies as Keyword Studios, Valve, and even Microsoft, doing jobs from QA testing to data analysis to program management. He recently created GameReach.io, a website that collects data points from numerous publicly available sources and creates a constantly changing score based on the level of engagement the game has received. It's truly a fascinating stuff, and we're happy to welcome back, I hope I don't screw it up, Rasmus Rasmussen.
Yay!
Yay!
I'm cheering for myself, but thanks for having me back.
Welcome
it's a
back.
pleasure. Yeah, welcome back, man. How's the last year been treating you? Getting along?
It's been a year for everyone, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've gotten through it healthily, and now I got my shots. So
Same here. Yeah. Look at all three of us here.
COVID strong.
I know. I did. I wasn't as lucky as y'all, though. I was out for like a full 24 hours after my second one. I was like, nope, done, had to nap, do all that. And then by like noon the next day, I was like, magically, I was fine again.
I should
Whatever.
take keywords off of my resume or something. I really don't like being associated with them.
Oh, sorry.
This is a terrible company.
Well, I can scrub that.
Yeah, we can start
I'll
over.
make that disappear. I don't have to put that in there. I'll redo it all.
We're good like that.
Leave it in. I'm happy to just publicly say that Keywords is a very, very, very terrible company to work for.
You've heard it here first.
For
Yeah.
3 years, and after 3 years as a contractor, they offered me a full-time position if I was okay with taking a $10,000 pay cut, to compensate for the bottom rung health insurance they were forced to give me.
Oh, wow.
Screw that.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We could do a whole episode just about how awful that whole experience was.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, Keyword Studios. I mean, they might have changed since I left in 2016, but I only associate them with the therapy I had to pay for, literally, afterward.
Wow. Dang, man. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Yeah. No, thumbs down. Thumbs down.
We'll,
I left Keywords to go work for Valve. So that's literally like from the worst to the best. So
I've heard a lot of good
ask me
things from people
anything.
who've worked from Valve. I really have. Like, I haven't, from the few people we've gotten to have the pleasure of talking to that's worked over there, I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about them.
There's nothing bad to say. I mean,
And that's good.
Every place has its good things and bad things, obviously. Right? There's no workplace that is just peaches every day.
Sure.
But Valve is probably the place that I've worked that came the closest.
Aw, well, that's good to hear. Because I'm
Absolutely.
addicted to using everything on their storefront. So that's good to hear. You know what I mean?
And I'm not just saying that because my wife still works there.
Oh,
okay.
Well, okay. Well, you didn't have to out yourself that way, man. Like, we could have just let it go.
It's public, I think. So, yeah.
Oh, well, that's fair. All right. Well, let's dive in here a little bit, though. So I know Above the Fold is coming along, right? You've been single-handedly developing this passion of love for quite a while now, and 8.2 just went live. Yes.
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 So the hope was always to finish it last year, but as with everything else in the world, it was delayed.
Gestures broadly. Yeah.
So now the hope is to finish it by the end of summer this year.
Okay.
And go full release. Sadly, I had some recent technical difficulties, as in my main dev PC just died.
Oh,
and
no,
I lost
yeah.
a little bit of progress on that, but not a lot. Back up your stuff always, everybody.
Always, right? As I was just complaining
It
about the
won't happen
cloud.
to me. It will happen to you.
Yes.
So I think I lost maybe like a week's worth of work. So that's fine. It's not that much. But I sort of have to reinstall everything, find my place on the new machine. So it's more than the work I lost. I think the delay of getting back up and running is worse. So little things like that are plaguing me currently. But I've also had some help recently, so that's very, very cool. I'm working with a 3D artist named Jay Sanchez.
Okay.
And he has been developing some new background art for my menus. He's working on some more UI stuff. Because let's face it, I'm pretty good at like game systems and that kind of stuff, but I'm not a UI designer. I'm not at all a graphic designer of any kind. I'm not a graphic artist. I appreciate graphic art. I can tell you what I like and what I don't like, but
sure.
I wouldn't classify myself as an artist. So I'm very happy to have some help on that front. Most of the art was already done by a Dutch artist.
Okay.
Previously. So I have been working with others as I've been going along. And most recently, I've been recruiting some of the more dedicated players on Steam to help me out with finding some of the trickier bugs that have been eluding me.
I gotcha.
Above the Fold has a lot of emergent sort of storytelling, and it can go in many different directions depending on how you choose to play the game.
Sure.
So there's also an endless list of ways that the game can crash and just not work. And much more so than I can possibly ever test myself. We were talking about QA before we started recording,
right?
And that really is fresh in mind for me right now because I've had so much help from a couple of very dedicated fans of the game, and I appreciate that. Like, it's probably one of the most motivating things for me as a solo dev. It's just knowing that it's just a couple of people like the game enough to take some time to actually help me find some tricky bugs.
Sure, right, and hopefully kind.
Oh, yeah.
In a kind way. It's not like, what are you doing, man? I want to play this and get it over with. But that's great to hear.
Well, there are those people too.
Sure.
They're not going to help you find the bugs.
No, they're just going to tell you you were stupid for making it in the first place. Oh, but I have noticed the last time I fired it up, you could definitely tell there's way more polish on the overall map scene, even more detail in with the reporters, the types of stories that you can create. I really enjoyed how it got more fleshed out too with the star system, where you had a little bit more of an idea what would be the hot topic for that day, or how happy it would make your journalist or not, depending on the story that you give them. And I tell you, you messed me up though, from when I first started playing it till now, because I was like looking for stories. I'm like, where did they go? I hired this guy to do this. And then I was like, oh, he actually made it now where you have to unlock it. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Read maybe before you start.
It's true that when I first released the very first early access versions, all the stories or story types were unlocked, and just through feedback from players, it just made sense to sort of broaden the scope of the game as you progress through the various chapters. And also, I think it's easier if you start now compared to back then. It's just easier that you have limited stories in the beginning, and so it's easier for you as a new player to make a badass issue that has a good theme, or issues that match your reporter interests. Because I've also tweaked how reporters are generated, so now earlier in the game, they're not as likely to have interests in topics that you haven't unlocked yet. Where before that was completely random. So I've been tweaking tons of stuff like that, even though it has a sort of casual look to it and a kind of a lighthearted tone. Every update, I still tweak the sim part, especially as you mentioned the reporters. I've been doing a lot of work on the reporters, giving them personality traits that affect the game. Like, you unlock different events and passive effects and stuff like that based on their personality traits. Also things like friends and rivals within the staff. on your newspaper.
I threw so many pizza parties.
Those are great.
Yeah, they seem to like it. I mean, who doesn't like pizza?
If you can afford it.
That's true. It was a couple years in, but for me.
So it's all based on like how you choose to sort of staff your paper. So if you pay attention to it when you're playing the game, you can staff your paper with people that have similar interests or similar political opinions, and that way you can steer your paper in a certain direction. So if you want to make like a sports heavy paper that's completely non-political, make sure to hire like both ways, so that you have some people that go one way and the other way. Because when you see a story, for example, you might have a reporter who's like a little more on the liberal side, but you want him to sort of tone that down in his sports reporting. Then you can assign him sports stories that have a slightly conservative lean to them. Then that'll sort of balance itself out, and he'll produce a down the middle kind of a story. Whereas if he's hardcore conservative and you assign him a conservative story, he will produce something that your liberal readers will not like.
That's fair.
And of course, the other way around.
I actually did try a run where it was all just offbeat. I just wanted my newspaper to be complete nonsense. So it was like offbeat and entertainment.
Right. I like
Worked for me.
I've done that. As sort of, I actually went the National Enquirer route and went all offbeat, all conservative.
There you go. I could see those angry letters that you get sent. What is this? No, but it's great. And I'm glad to see that it's coming along and hopefully coming out this year out of the full release. But check it out on Steam. I love simulation games. So that's why these are always fun for me. I know some people like, why do you want to play work? I'm like, I don't know, but it's fun for me. I can sit down and I plan the whole thing and plan my business.
So that helps.
What's that?
You're the boss. Well, kind of.
That's true.
Above the fold, you're actually not the ultimate boss. There's an owner of the newspaper that you still answer to. It's basically a quest giver.
Yeah.
Or sort of storyteller if you want. He's also the guy who fires you.
Your dungeon master.
You're a dungeon master. If you mess up and you're game over, he's the guy who fires you. So.
Yeah. I've been kicked a few times. Like, that's what is my favor. Let me do it. Oh man. But let's talk about Game Reach a little bit too here, because this is definitely new since we had you on the show last.
That's true.
Yeah. So very useful little tool. Was this just something you were like, I really would like this kind of tool for my own research, and that's kind of what you wanted to fill that hole you couldn't find to fill out there?
So this started as a work finding tool. Because when COVID first hit, like so many others, I was laid off, and I sort of needed to find new work, and was thinking, I'm sort of past my prime when it comes to hiring, especially in gaming. When you're past 40, that gets a little difficult, and you have to sort of prove that you're still in touch with the industry. And having an indie game on Steam, that's great, but it's not end all be all. So I thought, what can I do? What can I take from previous jobs that tie into sort of where I want to continue going in my career? And I was thinking of a project that I had started on in a previous position that I'd been in. And I was thinking I could take that idea and take it to the next level. So the idea is very, very briefly to measure how well any video game engages with this audience. And when I say engage, I mean like how much do they actually play it or watch it on streams or talk about it on Reddit. So where other sort of scoring systems try to measure reviews or sales, I try to go the other direction with Game Reach. And originally this was just a spreadsheet that lived on a laptop somewhere. But when I was unemployed and I was thinking, how can I take this to the next level? I started developing data scraping scripts and put a website together. And again, I'm not an artist or a designer, so I'm thankful for templates.
Sure.
Nor am I actually a web developer. I have some antiquated PHP knowledge and very rudimentary HTML, CSS skills, and pretty good at Googling. But
Oh, see, that's good because I'm not good at Google.
that's really like the one skill I would recommend any solo dev of any kind. Learn to Google.
You know, I took very briefly these little classes on Humble Bundle. And I think what was it, RPG Maker, Steven, that I was messing in or something like that. And way too code heavy. For someone who had no idea what she's doing, this was probably the worst thing to start off on. But as you mentioned, lovely people had code out there in the World Wide Web, and I managed to plug some of them in. And when the character moved, I was like, oh my God. So it was like I created something.
If you want to create something, anything to get you started. If you want to start with a template, start with a template. Who cares?
Yeah.
But that's what I did with the website. And
Nice.
I've been focusing more on gathering data from the right sources and still tweaking how I do that because I learn as I go.
Mhm.
But the good news is I got it up and running while I was looking for work and was able to use it and refer back to it. And I really think that helped me because as soon as I launched that and I started including it more in my sort of cover letters and stuff like that, I definitely noticed an uptick in interviews, like right away.
Yeah.
The first 4 months of unemployment, I didn't get anything, nothing, no callbacks, nothing.
Oh, man.
As soon as I launched that, I started getting interviews. It could be a coincidence that the market started changing right around that same time, but it just seems a little odd. It's like the same week, literally.
Well, maybe that all would tell you too that there was definitely this need out there that now that they're finding, because I mean, especially like for our audience here, we probably have a decent spread of like podcasters, content creators, indie developers that I'm friends with and everything like that. And so as I was reading through here, plenty of other people that it's perfect for, but for our audience here, I am curious though with like the streamers and stuff. So is that pulling data from just how many people are playing that game at any time off of Twitch? Because I have seen that their data can be kind of complicated to pull from.
So actually Twitch is giving me a little bit of grief right now, and I did reach out to their dev team, and I'm hoping they did listen to me and they did reply. So I'm hoping that they're going to include a little bit more data in their official API. So, but what I have been going by, just to answer your question, is rather than going by a number of streams, because you can have 1 million streams that nobody's watching, and that provides zero value. I go by average watch time.
Oh, there you go.
So you could have 2 streamers, but of course you got to ratio it out. So it's the number of viewers and the average watch time, right? So obviously if you have 100 viewers or 1,000 viewers that have a high average watch time, it's more valuable than 3 viewers with a high average watch time. But 3 viewers with a high average watch time can be at least more valuable than 100 viewers with very low watch time.
Like very quick click through. They're not actually staying with it. Okay.
Especially if you're trying to measure engagement, because the longer people watch, the more engaged they are with the game. I mean, obviously the host plays a role here as well, but if we're measuring across all of Twitch, I think the host factor evens out a little bit more. So that's how I measure streams. And so I take all these different factors. Streaming, I do take reviews into consideration, but I don't give them a very high weight in the final score.
Kind of like that, actually.
I take, what else do I take? Oh yeah, Reddit. I monitor several Reddit threads.
Oh yeah, they're very vocal. That's probably a good place to look.
I also work with Itch and look up Itch games. And also sort of check for how much activity there is on these, like how many comments are there on every individual games and which games are currently featured, stuff like that. Just wherever I can find relevant data, really. I'm still tweaking it and seeing what I can, like, if there are any good APIs out there I can adapt. I'm trying to find a better way to measure regular social media activity. The best way I can sort of do it right now is with hashtags.
Yeah, I was gonna say if
But
they're
it's-
diligent in doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the best way in my opinion, because you can miss a lot of conversations amongst fans that already know what they're talking about. They don't need to use the hashtag, right?
Right.
So
Right.
you're more likely to just catch promotional stuff, which I'm not really that interested in. So I'm still working on that side of things. But all of this data is then pulled into an algorithm and weighed out, and a final score is generated and displayed on the website. And right before my computer crashed, I was working on migrating from a weekly update where I manually go and start some scripts and then
Oh wow.
database. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not.
No.
I
I gotta make it sound impressive. Come on, you work so hard and
monitor
sweating.
that everything is like running
Mhm.
for the first few minutes, and then I can walk away, come back, and then it's done, and I just have to upload it to the database.
Yeah, they have to know what you're doing. I don't know.
But I'm trying to get away from that. I want to switch it to a continuous running process where the scores are live and updating all the time instead
Oh,
of just
nice.
once a week.
Yeah.
Because I've added user accounts, and you can track games now if you have a user account. So if you're an indie publisher, you can track all your own games that you're publishing or your competitors' games. Or if you're a content creator, you can track games that you're interested in, that you're streaming, or that your audience wants to know about.
Mhm.
Before you start streaming it, you can check them out there, see how they're doing. I'm working on all that stuff, and I feel like with that sort of those kinds of features, it works better with a live score than a weekly update.
I could agree with you there. Yeah. Especially if you're looking for like what's the hot thing that people are discussing a lot right now that I plan to maybe want to play today, real time. Yeah, I could agree with you there. So I think you could get it.
It's working. The actual live score, I still have to start the live score script. But I can automate that part. I just wanted to make sure that the actual script was working before I automated it. And I was
fair.
just in the verification phase of that when my whole system crashed. So, but that was backed up. So thankfully I didn't lose any work there.
See, if there's one lesson we're learning today, friends, siblings, back up your stuff. Right?
I think heat is what did it. I was playing Empire of Sin, and I had to pause the game and walk away. I came back like maybe 40 minutes later, and my computer was stone dead, just dead.
Oh no. Now
It's
you
not the
make me
power
wonder.
supply, 'cause
I
know
do
there's
that all the
light
time.
in the LED on the motherboard, but I don't know. Maybe the CPU died.
Oh, maybe some more paste or something needed to
don't
be
know.
in there and fried
I
it
just
out.
Didn't have time to troubleshoot it. I had to get back online.
I feel you. Well, I'm glad you were able to find a PC. Like that is a big feat in and of itself these days, I think. I think one of the only other real questions that I have about Game Reach here is just how do you decide which games goes up? Do people get to request to you maybe if they can't find a game on there, like, hey, I'd really love data for this, or some really cool things that just comes across your desk, or just building it as you can? Because
I do it very sort of old school. I go through the latest releases on Metacritic and on Steam and on itch. And then I just add any title that doesn't look like it's total spamware or a half-finished project, or
like
if it looks like a
legitimately
legit
someone
game.
cared to put it out.
I do try to vary it as much as possible, and not just add stuff that I like, or not just indie games and not just AAA games. In the beginning, when I was first sort of filling the database with a bunch of stuff, I added some sort of older games, and some of the feedback I got was, oh, it's really hard to find the indie games because of all the sort of high profile titles that are being added. But that's not happening now so much. I'm adding less titles per week because I'm more or less caught up on the back end. I have no interest in going all the way back to like the 90s or whatever, and
Just like the
including
entire
every
Steam
game.
library gets uploaded.
My focus is mainly on like titles from 2016 and forward,
Okay.
because I feel like that's where if there's any change in how much people engage with a title, it's not going to be with like some old game. unless they re-release it, in which case I'll re-add it to the database anyway.
Like Mass Effect here.
Exactly.
Come back around. Yeah. Yeah. I find it very interesting. And I mean, now that we have all this in mind, because I was looking at the top 10 of all time on the site right here. Steven, you'll love this. Cyberpunk #2. But I can imagine with the engagement that's had, makes total sense.
It does.
Cyberpunk has been up and down on the list a few times. It's never gotten. I think 2 is the highest it's ever got.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a 2 right now, but I don't remember when I checked like a week ago when I first started like pumping in games and seeing what was getting pumped out and all that kind of stuff. Because yeah, you can tell in here too, because like Stardew Valley is there, and that's been out a while now, #8. So yeah, I that's really cool to think about that way, because these, especially a lot of these that come out in early access, you probably will be talking about them for a really long time as it's developing and going through the whole thing. Stardew started that way, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so as well. Excellent.
The all-time list is probably not the most interesting one. Like if you're following the site on a sort of more regular basis, there's a top 10 page that has a bunch of more in-depth or variations of top 10 lists of newly added games published last month, so on and so forth. I think that one's probably more interesting because it has a lot more changes from week to week or when it goes live.
And I like it because I haven't heard of some of them, which will make me more curious to go check it out.
Sometimes I'm really surprised by games that have a relatively high score and I've never heard of them. Like, what is this?
Why am I not in that circle, right?
Right.
Because even like Deathloop right now has been staying up there too, and we're waiting. But I that's one I really want to play too, so I could see people talking about a lot of it. But I like this approach where you're really just kind of taking like how people are discussing. Are you even, is it there in an account at all if it's negative or positive? It's just like constant conversation about a title.
It depends a little bit on the medium. So on Reddit, it's harder to distinguish positive from negative.
Sure.
So that also counts against Reddit when I'm measuring out like how much does the actual the points I get from Reddit, how many of those go into the final score. It does count against it because it's so unpredictable, but still a lot of negative commentary is still engagement.
Engagement. Yeah.
It does count. The same goes for reviews. I do give positive reviews a higher value, but a lot of negative reviews is still engagement.
True.
So I'm still tweaking all these details as well. I mean, there was a point where I was giving engagement value for translations as well.
Oh, wow.
So if you had a lot of languages included in your game, you got a little bit of a boost in your score, but I've taken that back out because it really says nothing about the game. It says something about how you plan on marketing it and publishing it.
Well, wouldn't that still be useful for a dev or a publisher? Like, where should I have this localized the most?
I do include the information on the website.
Oh, okay.
I don't include it in the score.
Oh, I gotcha. All right. I see what you mean there, the difference. Well, I mean, I also want to be respectful of your time. And I feel like we've already had you for like 30 minutes here, but I don't know. I've hogged him the whole time, Steven. Do you want to pry into his mind here or any burning questions?
Nothing comes to mind, but I mean, you've hit a lot of the points we wanted to talk about because I wanted to get to know about Game Reach and where it kind of started. So fascinating to know it was a job search engine first.
I will say this, it's still in a very early beta stage. And if you want an account to track games and stuff like that, you need an invite. But you can go to the website and request an invite. And then I'll collect your email. And when I have a good way of sending out emails, I'll send out invite keys.
You're getting that hit up.
Excellent.
So, and the same goes for if you want your game added to the site, you can just send me an email. There's a link right on the website. There's also a Google form on my Twitter page for it.
Perfect. Yeah.
And as usual, links will be in the descriptions down below.
There. Yeah. Go check him out. Definitely check out his Twitter and Instagram. I think it's fun watching you with the building the guitars and stuff. Like I was even watching some of your stuff on YouTube. Like those are some really awesome designs, man. You up at the top. I ain't no designer. Look at you. Okay. Graphic designer, maybe, but my God, there's some gorgeous pieces in there, man. Really and truly.
It's not that hard to just spray paint on a piece of wood.
Oh, stop being so humble. You're talented. It looks great. I couldn't imagine building all of those. And it's great. I would go check out the website. Some fun little beats. I did get to check that out. That's how I know he's a real big D&D fan. We've even got songs about that. It was
my
great.
biggest social account right now is my TikTok, which is all D&D. So.
Oh, nice. I haven't been brave enough to really venture over into TikTok too much yet. I don't know if I can handle it.
It is a rabbit hole.
I don't have enough Zoomers in my life to teach me.
But maybe we should tap into the TikTok market, you know,
Maybe.
drag our old asses over there and be like, look at us being TikTokers and
I recommend it. I find it the most wholesome and nice place.
Really?
Right now, yeah.
Okay.
That's where I go for just lighthearted entertainment, and that's how you easily lose like an hour of your time. Just what happened? Oh,
I know I downloaded it.
TikTok hole.
I never figured out how to make a video, and then I deleted it. So it was like a series of me, like, I look at my video, I'm like, I did it. It was just me going, I'm like, well, maybe I could just upload that. Like, can anyone tell me what I'm doing right?
I'm sure there's a niche for that.
Mhm.
I'm sure there is.
All I know is that when my wife is looking at TikTok, I'm like, well, she's going to be distracted for a few hours. Time to play a game.
Really? I guess I didn't know it was that addictive because I never gave it enough of a chance. Well, that's on me. That's on me. We'll check it out. Maybe it scares me. I'm not gonna lie. It's too much. There's too much. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Where can we find you, Rasmus? Where should we have them all push the buttons to follow you and keep up to date?
Probably mostly active on Twitter, on the print account, which is my personal account, or you can just go join the GameReach.io account if you're not interested in my personal life. Hear about GameReach. It's not super active, but I try to post a few times a week, just a few updates of what's happening on the site, if and when something's happening on the site. I think that's probably the best. Instagram, if you want to see me build guitars.
I recommend.
That's about it.
Yeah,
TikTok, if
excellent.
You want D&D content.
There you go. And TikTok. We can add that on there too. TikTok. And as Steven said, I'm sure we'll have all that in the description down below. Thank you so much for joining us today. And so early. And this was lovely. I can't wait to keep an eye on it.
Back in what, a couple of years?
Yeah,
a couple of years. Yeah. I think we'll just keep timing it out that way. Then you'll have a new project going. Yeah. You've got so much talent, man. We'll have something new to talk about in a couple of years, I'm sure.
I don't want to make it by myself though. I want a team next time. Just
there you go.
There's too much work for one person.
Yeah.
I admire the fortitude though, man, and the keeping on, because I could only imagine.
Feedback from fans and random help is really what keeps me going.
That's great. Well, check it out. Above the Fold on Steam. We're getting close to its full release. Check out GameReach.io for all you people out there who want to know the data. It's good stuff to know. Thanks for coming on.
But yeah, that's our show. You know, you can hit us up sometime on Twitter at Super Mega Crash. You can send us an email at supermegacrash@gmail.com. Go find us on Twitter. You can view the weekly icon art that Steven puts all of his time and love into. You can support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred platform. And you can even go over to patreon.com/pencil and paper productions to support the show. You can tell your friends, your enemies. I don't care who you tell. Just tell everyone you know. You can find the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network or just search Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo Podcast, found on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music. I think too is in there, right? Yeah. And even youtube.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. As always, thank you so much for listening. I am Lacey Finley.
And I am Stephen White.
And you can join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.